Karan Singh ji here. He couldn't make it in the morning and he has come over here. He needs no introduction. Strong roots in Kashmir, an erudite scholar and an authority on Indian philosophy, culture, Kashmir Sahib, and of course a great friend of the Kendra. He would like to share a few thoughts with us, and may I request Shri Karan Singh ji to come over and share his thoughts with us.
तेजोमयं सगुणनिर्गुणमद्वितीयं आनन्दकन्दमपराजितमप्रमेयं नागात्मकं सकलनिष्कलमात्मरूपं वाराणसीपुरपतिं भज विश्वनाथं न जानामि योगं जपं नैव पूजां नतोऽहं सदा सर्वदा शम्भुतुभ्यं जराजन्मदुःखौगतातप्यमानं प्रभो पाहि आपन्नमामीश शम्भुः. Friends, it is always a pleasure and a privilege to visit the Ramana Kendra, and I have been doing so fairly regularly, once every 10 years I think, over the last half century. Because I also moved to Delhi about half a century ago, and since then the Ramana Kendra has been functioning well, spreading the teachings of Ramana Maharishi. You just heard a very erudite speech by that young Swamiji. I'm not sure what I should add or what I should talk about, but I think what is important is the reinterpretation of Vedanta for the modern age. In my view, the Vedanta provides us with a complete holistic philosophy of life, which is tremendously important as we move forwards to meet the challenges that lie ahead. Now, Vedanta, of course, means the teachings of the Upanishads, essentially. Because the Upanishads are the Vedanta, the end of the Vedas, that is why they are Vedanta, and the high watermark of Vedic thought, hence Vedanta. And the Upanishads, of course, are so full of wisdom and so full of light and so full of power that they always are a source of inspiration. Now, what are the basic features of the Vedanta? I would say, to begin with, I'd like to make 3 short points. The first is the all-pervasive Brahman. Brahmaividam amritam purastar brahma paschat brahma dakshinaschotrena adaschodham prasritam brahmaividam vishwamidam. This whole magnificent universe is Brahman, and therefore the universe is not something to be shunned. The universe is something to be honored and glorified, because it is, as in Kashmir Shaivism, it is an unrolling of the power of Shiva. Therefore we have this Varishtam, this great universe, magnificent universe. I know there are some philosophies which tend to reject the universe. Brahma Satyam Jagat Mithya, I do not accept that. I would say Brahma Satyam Jagat Satyam, Jivo Shiva Evanata. That is how I would interpret the temple. With due respect to Shankara, I feel that it is not something that should be rejected. In Kashmir Shaivism, we do not reject the universe. It is there, it is a manifestation of the divine. So you have the all-pervasive Brahman. Then you have the reflection, if you like, or the light of that Brahman in each human being, which is the Atma. So you have the all-pervasive Brahman, and you have the Atman in each human being. Ishvara sarvabhutanam hrideshe tishtati. The Lord resides in the heart of all beings. And the Upanishads have a marvelous phrase for the human race, Amritasya putra, children of immortality. And why are we children of immortality? Not because of our mortal body, which will not last very long. It will last, 100 years at the most? But because of that immortal spark within us, the Atman within us. Hence we are Amritasya putra. So you have the all-pervasive Brahman, you have the Atman within each individual. And then you have the process and methodology of joining. Because if the Brahman is out there and the Atman is here, then what is the sambandha? What is the significance? So you have what is known as yoga. Yoga, as you know, comes from the root yuj, the same root as the English word yoke, join. And yoga in our tradition, as you are very well aware, has four main pathways. There are hundreds of different ways, but four main highways, shall we say, of yoga. The first is the Jnana Yoga. And I think that Bhagavan Raman Maharishi represents probably better than anybody else the path of the Jnana Yoga. Jnana Yoga, the one who sits, meditates, looks within, seeks the different Satya, Satya, Viveka, see what is real, what is not real, tries to refer everything back to the inner power. The Jnana Yoga, the Shastras are the Upanishads. And they have this most marvelous ideas of how the Jnana Yogi can come to the reality, look through the prism of what is happening and go straight to the reality. And Bhagavan Ramana, I think, is the best representative of the Jnana Yogi. He's the quintessential Jnana Yogi who just sat in Tiruvannamalai and radiated his peace. I visited Tiruvannamalai, by the way, just a few months ago. After 40 years, there was a gap. And I went there and had darshan of Arunachalam and of the Samadhi of Sri Ramana Maharishi and of course of the great Shiva. Dhyayet Nityam Mahesham Rajat Giri Nibham Charu Chandravatamsam Ratna Kalpojjvalangam Parashumigavara Bhiti Hastam Prasannam Padmasinam Samanta Sutamavaragrahi Yagra Kritim Vasanam Vishwadyam Vishwabandyam Nikhila Bhayaharam Panchavaktam Tripita. So that is the greatness of Arunachal, the Jnana. The second main highway is the Bhakti Yoga. If the Jnana Yoga is the way of the mind, Bhakti Yoga is the way of the heart. Unless the heart opens in love and devotion and surrender to the divine, you will not be able to get there. The Jnana and the Bhakti are like two engines of a plane. Unless both of them are functioning at the same time, you will not be able to take off. And therefore Bhakti Yoga is falling in love with the divine. For example, Sri Ramakrishna and his devotion to Mahakali. That is Bhakti. Or Surdas and his devotion to Sri Krishna. Or the Nayanmars, the 63 Nayanmars, the Sundara and Tirugyana Sambandha and Akbar, Manika Vasalam and Karnappan and all. I love that Periya Purana. It's the most fascinating story. And I've read them all in English translation. So all of them fell in love with Shiva. They were not only, they could have been hunters, they may have been workmen, they may have been kings, they may have been traders, but all of them fell in love with Shiva. They were bhaktas. And therefore they represent, as it were, the Bhakti Yoga, the second great highway of our tradition. You have the Jnana Yoga, the way of the mind, Bhakti Yoga, the way of the heart. Then you have the Karma Yoga, the way of the arms. And that is very important. Because it's all right for Bhagavan Maharishi to sit in Tiruvannamalai, but everybody cannot sit there, there's no space. And if everybody sits there, who's going to run your Raman Kendra here? So therefore, going away into a cave or an ashram is not for everybody. You've got to work in the world. You've got to work here, the Upanishads say. After the first Jnana Yoga, Isha Vasyamidam Sarvam Yatkin Jagatyam Jagat Tena Tyaktena Punji Dhama Idhikasya Suddhanam. Isha Vasyam. Second, Kurvani Viha Karmani Jivishet Shatam Samaha Evam Tayina Nathvetosthi Na Karma Lipyate. Work here for 100 years. Work. Kurvani Viha Karmani. So therefore the Karma Yoga, it didn't begin with the Gita. The Gita is a much later text. It's there in the Upanishads, it's there in the Ishavasya. The Karma Yoga is also very important. Often Jnanis like you tend to neglect the Karma Yoga part or the Bhakti Yoga part, but let me submit very respectfully that in order to have a holistic approach, you need Jnana Yoga, you need Bhakti Yoga, you need the Jnana Yoga of Ramana Maharshi, the Bhakti Yoga of Sri Ramakrishna, the Karma Yoga of Swami Vivekananda, who travelled across the world, across the oceans to take the message of the Vedanta. And the fourth great highway is the Raja Yoga. So you have the Jnana Yoga, the Bhakti Yoga, the Karma Yoga. The Raja Yoga is the way of psycho-spiritual practices. Whether it is breathing, whether it is concentration, whether it is the Kundalini Yoga, whatever, there are many, many ways. Or whether it is the Hatha Yoga asanas. The Raja Yoga is a very important path, the royal path. Because that ultimately is a path that can hasten, that can accelerate your movement towards the journey. And therefore you have this magnificent tradition. And for that I would say Sri Aurobindo. Because he was there and he developed these great powers and these great concepts of the mind, the overmind. So the four people I have chosen in my introduction to the Encyclopedia of Hinduism, which has just been published in 11 volumes. You should try and get a set for here. First time a proper Encyclopedia of Hinduism has been published. And my introductory essay, I have chosen these four people as representing the four paths. Sri Ramana for Jnana Yoga, Sri Ramakrishna for Bhakti Yoga, Swami Vivekananda for Karma Yoga, and Sri Aurobindo for Raja Yoga. The Swami told you not to clap, otherwise it won't clap. But his words, you can clap for me, I don't mind, I'm used to clapping. You're going to clap for him. So, there it is, there is this extraordinary background of the Upanishads, and taken together, they represent a holistic attitude, a holistic philosophy. Purnamidah Purnamidam Purna Purnamidachyate. And therefore, it seems to me that in this whole Kali Yuga, where we are now living, and the Kali Yuga gets worse and worse as the elections grow we have got to partake of all the yogas. Each one of us has got to do some Jnana Yoga, we've got to do some Bhakti Yoga, we've got to do some Karma Yoga, and we've got to do some Raja Yoga. And it is only then, when all these four yogas are alive and awake, that we finally move towards Lord Shiva, who is my Ishtadeva. Although I am a Raghuvamshi, our family deity Sri Rama, but Sri Rama also worshipped Shiva. So I see, let me go directly. And incidentally, I must tell you, when you next visit Pondicherry, on the east coast road from Chennai to Pondicherry, there is a small village called Puthukopam, just 3 kilometers before you enter Pondicherry. I have built there a Nataraja temple in a pyramid. The first time a pyramid, which is the great symbol of the Egyptians, and the Nataraja, which is our greatest symbol, are combined there in that temple. And I said that if Ram can build Rameshwaram, I call this Karaneshwaram. There is always a bit of ego thrown into whatever you do. And so, if you go there, visit the Karaneshwara temple, visit that Nataraja. It is to the Nataraja that I will dedicate this talk. Nityavasane Nataraja Rayo, Nanana Dhakkam Navapanchavaram, Uddhartu Kaman Sarakaja Siddha, Yetat Vimarshe Shiva Sutra.